2 camp battle videos in a week. I gotta kind of have to start putting them like that because training camp is coming real close. So let's talk wide receivers. What is up, fans? We are talking wide receivers, a position that's kind of deep on this team. We just got done with running backs on Monday, another position kind of deep on this team. We're going to talk wide receivers. I think we got about 11 of them in camp with us. Yeah, I counted real quick. So we're going to talk about that, but real quick, before we jump into all the good stuff, I got to give out a little PSA, a little update, a little how you do. First off, tried to get an MRI yesterday. Did not happen. My shoulders were too wide to fit into the small machine, so I have to reschedule it for July 17th. It's my life. That's just my life. But the other thing is, to the people who have emailed me, to the people who have DM'd me, to the people who have reached out and contacted me, whether it be for collabs, whether it be for, hey, Doug, this or that, or questions on the Patreon, I am going to get to those this weekend. I promise you that. I have time now to sit down and answer emails, to answer comments, to answer questions, to answer everything. And I'm getting to everyone that has emailed me and everything, whether asking me for advice, whether asking to collab, whether anything. I'm getting to all of that this weekend, I promise. So just want to let you know, because there are some people that I've been in contact with, and then crazy stuff happened, and I'm like, I gotta answer them. So I apologize, that's on me, but I'm gonna get back to you this weekend. Let's talk about wide receivers. Come on, we got 11 of them on the team right now. Odell Beckham Jr., Braxton Berrios, Jaquan Burton, River Craycraft, Eric Izukama, Tyreek Hill, Braylon Sanders, Anthony Schwartz, Jaylen Waddle, and then the Washington boys. They're not brothers, but they're the boys. The Washington boys. So, here you go. This is the list. I didn't do this for running backs because this is the way more. When I do defensive tackles, like me and Big O said, they have like 400 defensive tackles. Got a ton of wide receivers. So we're going to talk about them. Now, obviously, like you guys know already, this is episode 3 of the Camp Battle Positions. I'm going to give you a little my thoughts and processes on some of the guys, but this is more for the guys trying to make the roster. So like Tyreek Hill, 1,799 yards, number 1 in the NFL, 13 touchdowns, number 1 in the NFL. He had 9 drops, which was tied for second. But there's also a measurement called drop percentage, and it measures the on-target passes that were dropped, and he had 7% of them, which was 39th. So, yes, he's had some critical drops and some key moments, but overall throughout the season, he has been kind of more reliable, but he does still have to work on those drops. And then when targeted, 119.8 passer rating, which was 11th in the NFL. Then we have Jaylen Waddle, 1,014 yards, which is 25th, but he only played 14 games. He missed 3 games. I feel like that number would have been much higher. 4 touchdowns, 6 drops, which was tied for 9th. But again, his percentage was 7.7%, which is higher than Tyreek Hill, only by 0.7, putting him at 34th. Odell Beckham is the new man in town, 565 yards last year with the Baltimore Ravens. He had 16.1 yards, 16.1 yards per reception, which was tied for 11th, and he had 3 touchdowns. Only 1 drop. 1 drop, and he had a drop percentage of 2.8%. Extremely low. That is your starting 3 wide receivers. Right there. Those are your starters. No one's overplacing them. They're not going anywhere. Jaylen Waddle just signed a new contract. Tyreek wants a new one, and we'll see if he gets it or not, or all this stuff. Odell just signed. That is your starting base nickel, whatever you want to say, 3 wide receivers right there. Then you have a list of 8 wide receivers that are trying to be the 4th guy, the rotational guy, and trying to make the roster. I got Braxton Berrios, you got River Craycraft. Those 2 guys were with the team last year, and there's a reason we brought in Jonnu Smith, which is probably going to be Monday or Tuesday's video. We talk about tight ends. There's a reason we brought in Jonnu Smith. There's a reason we brought in Odell Beckham. There's a reason we drafted Malik and Taj Washington. That is because these two guys in Braxton Berrios and River Craycraft had a hard time getting open, had a hard time getting off of press coverage when Tyreek or Jaylen Waddle, because the fun fact, they were on the field only about 30 to 40% of the time last season when they were getting doubled. So the Dolphins are like, hey, you know, we have two stud receivers. They're going to get pressed. They're going to get doubled. We need a third option or fourth option. So it's not constantly just trying to force feed the ball. So what do the Dolphins do? They add more receivers. Now, with Braxton Berrios and River Craycraft, are they a lock to make the team? No. You know, they got brought back on probably no guaranteed money. I didn't really look at their contracts, but I know it's a 1-year bare minimum contract. So Braxton and River Craycraft are not locks to make the roster. So they are part of this camp battle. Then you have Eric Uzukama, who did really well before the neck injury. You know, they were using him for end arounds. They were using him for certain different types of things. And they would, he was doing well, and then he had the neck injury, and then his season was over. So here's a situation where, again, they added more depth at the receiver position, but the fact that Eric Uzukama was a draft pick of the McDaniel era, are they going to keep him around? Because he was the first draft pick of McDaniel and Greer when it was Tyndall and Eric Uzukama. So does that give him a slight edge to make the roster over guys like Braxton or River? Possibly, especially because he's the taller type of receiver, and we got a ton of slot receivers. Then you have guys like Anthony Schwartz and Braylon Sanders, who to me have an outside shot of making the team. These are vets that were brought in, but again, they probably really have to blow people away when it comes to training camp. And then you have the two rookies in Malik Washington and Taj Washington. Now, Malik Washington's making the roster, and I'm hearing really good things about Malik Washington, but again, it was only OTAs and mandatory minicamp. Taj, on the other hand, he's not a lock to make it in the roster. He's a 7th-round pick. Will he make the roster? I think the fact that they have that new kickoff rule, I think that helps his chances of making the roster. But I think Malik is more of a lock to make the roster than Taj is. And then you have the undrafted free agent in Jaquan Burton, who he's got an uphill battle because he literally has 10 guys ahead of him that he's trying to compete to at least get noticed. And for these wide receivers in Anthony Schwartz, Braylon Sanders, Jaquan Burton, and even Taj Washington, to get noticed, you have to make special teams. But looking at this receiving core, I'm excited because our top 3 are really good. Really, really good. And there is some depth there. Like I said, Malik Washington's already catching passes from Tua. He's already been working with Tua, trying to get that, familiarity with each other. Then you have guys like Eric Uzukama, who is, was doing well and then unfortunately had the neck injury. And then you have Braxton and River and, the vets in there. This camp battle is one that I find to be very interesting because there's a lot. This and the defensive tackles are going to be very interesting because it's deep. I don't think any other position has more than 5-6 deep in their position. You got the interior offensive line of the tackles, but I don't even think they go 6 deep. This is 11. Now, obviously, it's because of wide receivers. You got corners, too, that are going to be deep. But this one's going to be interesting because, like I said, outside of our top 3 in Hill, Waddle, and Odell, it's a crapshoot who makes the roster because I'm looking at the other 8, and I don't see anyone that is guaranteed to make the roster. None. Because, like I said, Braxton River, they disappeared last season. Eric had the neck injury. Anthony Schwartz and Braylon Sanders, you didn't really hear much about them. And you got 3 rookies, 2 drafted, 1 undrafted. So very, very interesting battle that is going to be at the wide receiver position, and one I'm excited to see with my own eyes. Again, August 15th, I will be down in Miami for training camp. We'll be vlogging the whole thing. Hopefully I'll see you guys there. You guys can be part of the vlog. But comment below. What do you think about this wide receiving camp battle? Who do you think out of the 8 that I mentioned will make the roster? Who do you think I won't make the roster? How many receivers do you think they're going to carry on the roster? That is something I will talk about later in the season when I predict my 53-man roster. But comment below. I'm very interested to hear what you guys have to say about this. But on that, I will see you guys Monday unless news breaks or something happens and I'm like, I kind of want to talk about that. But like usual, stay classy. And fins out.